The hardest part about doing videos and podcasts and articles and books about this epidemic level of black violence and criminality so wildly out of proportion is that no matter how many stories that we do here, we're leaving many, many hundreds on the table. So every once in a while, I just like to take stories that come in within an hour or two, just jam them all together and say, hey, look at these stories, but realize these are not special stories. These are average stories. Why don't we just start on the subway in New York with these dudes?
From here on out.
6 on the couch and 2 not shown, all sisters of Brittany Summers, a mother of 3 fighting for her life after a woman plowed into a crowd on East Main Street after a fight spilled out of the Image Restaurant and Lounge early Wednesday morning in downtown Richmond.
I personally woke up to the video. I was tagged in the video of my sister laying in the street, and one of my first thoughts was, where was security? Because it supposedly started from a bar fight, and where was security to break up the fight?
Summers suffered life-threatening injuries. Another woman, 22-year-old Shanice Woodbury, was killed. The two did not know each other.
We had to watch other people standing over her, and even the other man that was laid out in the street asking for help, and nobody was helping. They were just filming, and I don't know, it's disgusting.
And for the guy who videotaped her, you could have helped. Yep. You could have stopped recording and tried to get CPR.
Summers is critical but stable. The road to recovery will be long. Her sister is planning to alternate between who will take care of her 3 children, one of which just celebrated a birthday.
The night after her son's first birthday party, and I woke up to a call at 2 in the morning from her ex-boyfriend saying he's seen her get hit by a car and that I needed to get to MCV immediately because it was bad.
With help from the community, Richmond police quickly identified a person of interest in the...
Breaking at 6 o'clock, Richmond police have arrested a woman for a deadly hit-and-run crash in Shockoe Bottom. Shayna Harris is accused of intentionally plowing her car into 4 people, killing one of them. Now, 8 News has uncovered the suspect's extensive criminal records with multiple jurisdictions. She had previously been charged with participating in gang activity, grand larceny, possession of marijuana, driving on a revoked license, among other charges. She was taken into custody for this hit-and-run crash this afternoon.
The victim was actually standing right here, stacking newspapers, when 2 guys approached him from behind. In a flash, the man in the dark shirt put the store clerk in a chokehold, so tight he went limp. Seconds later, unconscious, the now wanted man dragged that 21-year-old across the store.
It erupted at a packed party in Hamden, sending 5 people to the hospital. NBC Connecticut's Sujatha Jan joins us live from the police station with more on what police are saying this morning. Sujatha.
Shannon, good morning to you. There was a heavy police presence on Choate Avenue after that violence erupted around 9 last night. That just led to sheer chaos. Now, Hamden police say about 500 people were attending an annual summer party. They initially went to the house to disperse the crowd, and that is when police say several shots were fired. They say 5 people were hurt. A neighbor tells us her family heard the gunfire.
My son and I were looking out the window and we were like, oh, fireworks. And my son said, no, that was shots. And it was about 4 or 5 gunshots. And then we just saw swarms of people running up Choate.
Well, it's unusual to have that many people at a party, 400 or 500 people. We were getting reports that there were drunk individuals lying on people's lawn, things of that sort. So we were here to disperse that. And this is when the chaos began.
Police say the victims were treated at Yale New Haven Hospital. The extent of their injuries is unknown at this time. Now, Shannon, police have released a suspect description. They say the man in his early 20s with a thin build, some hair on his chin, and some facial scarring. Now, they're urging...
Hey, Sujatha, did you forget anything in your report on the description of the people who shot the 5 people in your town of Hamden? Did you forget anything? Yeah, well, the cops up there are saying the shooter was one of the fellas. Is there a reason you left that out, Sujatha? Down in Mobile, Alabama, they found this white kid in a parking lot at a mall we've done many videos on, the River Chase Galleria parking lot. White kid found him in a car. They arrested this fella for the crime. Next.
A normal start to Wednesday for Matthew Bowles and his daughter.
We're out here just doing some car maintenance on her car, just trying to show her some things.
But that changed in a painful splat outside their home just off Joe Hinton Road in West Knox County.
And just out of nowhere, just a guy driving by just opened fire with a paintball gun on us. Fired about 20 to 30 shots, and we both dropped to the ground.
Dad got hit once, his daughter 3 times, pellets breaking her skin.
I've been shot by a paintball before. I think that was like a high-powered paintball gun, because I've never welted up like that.
Paint also splattered the car and home. Deputies tracked the adult and juvenile down in just a couple of hours, arresting the pair. Deputies say one other person was shot by the paintballs. Bowles says he's glad his youngest daughter wasn't outside and no one was seriously hurt.
We like to be outside, playing and doing things outside, but now I don't know. It's like, do I want to bring my daughter outside and risk her getting shot by a paintball?
Yeah, Mary, it happened in front of a home in this area, and now that victim and his family are so terrified these 3 thieves could come back, and next time someone could get really hurt. Knife at his throat, pushed right up against the fence of his own home. Out of nowhere, a third suspect took a tinfoil plate and slammed it into Wilson Juntamai's face. Surveillance video captured it all.
As soon as he opened the gate, one of the robbers came right in front of him.
Juntamai's 16-year-old niece too terrified to show her face on camera. She says it happened as her uncle was trying to open the security gate in front of their home near East 172nd Street and Boynton Avenue in the Soundview section. The first thing her uncle heard from a suspect,
one of the robbers came right in front of him, crossing right in front of the gate, and said, "Where do you think you're going?"
Within seconds, the victim was thrown up against the fence.
One of them put that on his face, and they checked him all over, and they were like, "Give me everything you got."
Getting away with about $80 cash and Juntamai's cell phone. After it happened, the 3 suspects slowly and calmly walked away. Juntamai's niece says she's happy her uncle wasn't hurt.
I was just like, okay, he's alive. That's all that counts. I mean, everything else that's materialistic, it's okay. That could be gone. It could be replaced, but a family member couldn't.
Take one more close look at those suspects. All 3 were wearing black hooded sweatshirts. One of them could be seen in a red bandana. The psychological trauma still weighing heavily on Juntamai.
He just goes to work, comes back, and stays home.
Yeah, the victim says she was out running an errand. She was heading up 5th towards South Street, and when she got right here to Catherine, that's when she says she encountered a group of teens, one of them armed with a shovel.
I turned and said to him, "You just hit me with a plastic shovel."
A neighbor recorded the seconds after the assault from a window. The attacker seen here holding a blue plastic shovel. His crew of boys and girls loitering in the middle of the street. The victim, Rachel, who didn't want to give her last name, now on the sidewalk with her bike, rattled by what had just played out on this Queen Village block.
He stepped over, swang, and hit me, and then was standing a few feet away. And
the attack unfolding just before 8 Thursday evening. Several cars were seen driving by. Rachel says one driver came to her defense, prompting a yelling match with the group.
One of the girls, she did come up and ask me if I was hurt, not in a nice way, but sort of like I hope you're hurt.
Oh, they don't look like kids who live in the neighborhood.
Some residents who didn't want to go on camera say the group had been seen earlier walking in the area, yelling and hitting cars, but add this type of behavior is out of the ordinary.
It's a little strange, but I guess that happens from time to time, you know, even in nice neighborhoods.
A group of teens attacked and robbed a woman this spring in Society Hill, and earlier this month a man's jaw was fractured during an attack by teens in Old City.
Not just the kids in my situation, but the ones who may have provoked other people, you know, that they can receive some consequences. And
that man who randomly attacked a mom and her child visiting Mobile's main library, pleading guilty to that crime.
But his sentence could come as a surprise. He may not spend any more than a year in jail. Morella Porter explains why.
It was late October, a mother and her young child spending the afternoon at the Ben May Public Library in downtown Mobile. Little did they know the terror they would go through. Surveillance cameras recording as the woman and child bolt out of the library, followed closely by Mujahid Assad. He was chasing them with a metal pole before throwing it at them. The mother and child were hit, but not seriously injured. The motive, purely random. Assad and the victims, total strangers. Yesterday, Assad pleaded guilty to 2 counts of third-degree assault and 1 count of second-degree assault. His 10-year prison sentence cut to 1 year in Metro, with time served thrown in. That means Assad will be released come November.
So you're going crazy in a library attacking a woman and a child, and that's worth less than 1 year in jail. And by the way, if you go to jail, that's different than going to prison, right? So if you get sentenced to 1 year in jail, including time served, the people that run the jail, usually a sheriff, they can kick you loose pretty much any time. I mean, if the things get a little crowded, what they'll do, they just look down the list and they go, well, he's supposed to be out of here in 30 days, so let's just kick him loose now. Very rare to serve a full year in a jail. This is not the first time we did a story on stuff happening in libraries. I remember the first library story I did. It was a librarian out in Northern California. I talked to him on the phone. I had a big interview with him. This is in White Girl Bleed a Lot. And he was a lib. He was a full-on, 100% down with the cause Hillary lib. And he told me that he was familiar with my work because he used to scorn it. They had it at the library. My books and my articles would come into his library, but if anybody ever talked about it, he would poo-poo it, saying, well, you know, that's just a bunch of conservative people imagining black violence. And one day he's in there helping an old dude finding some videos on World War II. A fella walks in and beats the living piss out of this guy over a 5 or 10 minute period. And that's a long time. That's a long time to get punched and kicked in the face. Beaten so he was unrecognizable. He runs out of the library and his mom is waiting for him. She dropped him off, she waited, and he went back out there within 15 minutes. That's why I say when people talk about where the parents are, I just remind people there really aren't that many parents around. There are a lot of accomplices. They picked them up because the fella insisted on driving. So his mom scooted over. When he started driving erratically, and that's how they caught him. That beating changed that librarian's life. He moved to a small town, middle of nowhere. Now he's a hermit, and he's afraid to go out.
An 88-year-old woman is recovering tonight. She was attacked and robbed on a quiet street in Brooklyn. Police say the surveillance video shows the suspect near a bus station just before he attacked the woman. She was walking home with her husband, who's in a wheelchair. This happened Monday just before 1 in the afternoon on East 21st Street near Avenue J in Midwood. We spoke with the woman's daughter, who does not want to be identified.
Up until now, they've been independent, they've been managing, and now you're saying what they can't walk on their block. They have to be afraid to walk outside.
Police say the suspect stole a necklace with a diamond pendant, and he may have followed the woman when she got off the bus.
And Susie, the video is disturbing, and tonight Long Beach police want to know if there's other videos out there. A video posted on YouTube shows a brutal beating last week. Several boys knocked another boy to the ground and repeatedly kicked and punched him as someone shot video of the beating. Long Beach police officers tell us they were called to a local hospital for a battery report. A mother told the Long Beach Post the boy is her son and a special education student. The mom said the boys asked her son where he is from before the beating and suspects they're Poly High School students. Long Beach police are investigating this as a gang-related beating and have ramped up patrols before and after school. They're also working with high school security and looking for the boys in the video.
Yeah, we keep a file, black on handicapped violence. If you're an autistic person, if you're a person mentally handicapped, you're handicapped in any way, physically or mentally, and you go to a black school, you are going to be the target of some very nasty abuse and violence and torture. Do I have to remind anybody about those 4 or 5 black people did to that white mentally retarded kid in Chicago a couple years ago? When they kidnapped him, beat him, tortured him, made him drink out of a toilet bowl, taunted him because he liked Trump.
Please, sir. I want some more.
I guess liking Trump, like a lot of other things white kids do, just as they are living their lives, I guess that really makes the black kids angry.